Hey, Daves, how are you?
Hey, John, how are you?
Good. What was the difference with the running game yesterday? We saw it its most effective to date this season.
Yeah, I mean, each week is a new week for us, and you guys have heard us say that. Something we placed a lot of emphasis on last week during practice. Got a lot of reps at it. Um, we knew each week is completely different, John. It starts with, what you think you can do well that game, and then it goes to what they're doing well and their players and some of the strategies you watch them employ, weather, and then when you're within the game, what kind of runs you want to run, whether you want to run to a particular player, whether you want to run to a certain technique, whether it's inside, whether it's outside. Just credit credit the assistant coaches, the line coaches, tight ends, backs. Then obviously the players, they do a good job of that. But Friday's practice, we probably practice about two passes the entire practice, and the rest were runs.
We talked to you so much in the past few weeks about Jon Feliciano and what he brings. Could you tell that the nastiness that he instills resonated amongst the rest of that group yesterday on the field?
Yes. Yeah. Look, you know how I feel about John, and he had I'd say he had a good week in terms of getting back at it and trying to fight through some things that he had to fight through, a couple surgeries and things like that, and just a smart, tough, dependable player that when he was available for us, we count on, and credit to him being prepared and ready to go, particularly when that incident happened with Mitch, being able to pop back in center, and good comfort level with him in there. He's a team leader. He's a team leader on offense in particular.
Thanks, Daves.
Thank you.
Hi, Brian. Feliciano said after the game yesterday that he prepares each week as if he were going to play center. I'm just wondering what that means and how that helped him, I guess, slide right over when the time came.
Yeah, that's a good question. That position is obviously like the quarterback for the offensive line, and there's a lot of things that go into it for those guys, making identifications and making quick calls, getting people on the same page. The line's only as good as all five of them working together, and that's really where it starts, the communication aspect of it for that position. He's definitely communicating back and forth with Josh, and I know Josh has a good comfort level with John. And really that's probably what he was talking about. There's extra meetings that we have with the centers or people that could potentially play center, and the quarterbacks just alone on different things, whether it's run identification, pass protection identification, a lot of communication that goes into that. So not that you don't do it at guard, you do, but I'd say you do it far more often at center, relaying things to your teammates along the line of scrimmage. And that goes all the way down. It's to the tight ends, and it's really important.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Brian. When Mitch went down yesterday, I'm good.
Good.
When Mitch went down yesterday, you guys brought in Ryan Bates off the bench, and then you went to Ike Bucker. Why did you switch things up from Ryan, and then how did you think Ike did?
Yeah, well, first I think Ike did a good job, and Ike was in there the previous. He had communication with John, and we talked about it on the sideline. Felt that was the best. We talk about this. Seems like every training camp with the offensive line rotation and things like that. And, quite frankly, that's one of the reasons why we do it. Position flexibility is important throughout the year. It's rare that you can have all five guys the entire season. So for other guys to be able to play different spots, know certain assignments, being able to communicate with one another, that's really the job of a coaching staff in the beginning parts and the OTAs, obviously, which we didn't have any in training camp. To make sure there is possession flexibility and move guys in and out, work with different combinations, because usually that's at some point in time during the year that's going to show up. And that's really why we do it.
And we talked to Josh quite a bit last week about, some of the demons against the Patriots. And he said when he put the tape on of last year's games, it wasn't fun because of some of the mistakes. now that you watched yesterday's game and what he was able to do this time around, what were your impressions? Where did he maybe show some improvement?
Yeah, I thought he did a good job of, he made particular checks for us out there that were critical at critical times in the game. But everybody chipped in to make that better too. Obviously, we ran the ball a little bit more than we had in the past, which allowed us to control the game some. But look, they're a formidable opponent every time you play them. We just made a few more plays at the end of the day than they did this game.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Hi, Brian. Matt Fairburn here.
Hey, Matt.
I'm curious what you can maybe identify as some problem areas with the downfield passing game. You haven't had quite the success in the last month that you did in the first month of the season in that area.
Yeah, I mean, we've called some, probably not as many based on what we've been given. We missed a couple, didn't connect on a few, but each game, Matt, is different. I'm not concerned about that as much as just playing well in whatever game we need to play well and the things that we need to do in it. And really, that's what the most important thing is, whether that's, 1 week is a bunch of short passes or the next week is attack downfield and the next week is a bunch of runs. Our job is to try to put together a plan and do the things that we need to do to win a game. The stats and all that other stuff, the only important stat is the letter. And that's the most important thing to us, and that's how we approach it. Certainly, we'd like to improve in really every area of our game. We're only half a season in, so there's a lot of growth that we all need to have. So we'll just continue to work at it, grind it out, and try to improve, whether that be that area, Matt, or double teams, or picking up stunts in games, or man coverage, or zone coverage, whatever it may be. There's a lot certainly for us to work on and try to get better at, and that starts with me. Thanks.
Hey, Dave, Dan Fates in Rochester. Good to see you.
Hey, Dan, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Just wondering, how proud are you of Josh over these last two games? Look, he's a guy that likes to be aggressive, wants to throw the ball downfield. He said touchdowns first and all those kind of things. But to have the discipline, it hasn't been sexy on the stat sheet the last 2 weeks, but how proud are you for the discipline he has shown the last 2 weeks?
I don't know if proud is the word. I expect that from him. I see how hard he works in practice. I see all the meetings that he goes through with Ken and those guys. His job is to try to help us win games any way he can. Certainly, quarterbacks would love to have 400-yard passing games with 350 and 4 touchdowns and not hand it off 38 times or whatever it was. But the thing that you appreciate about the leader of your football team is whatever we need to do to win, he's all in for. That's what I expect from him.
Appreciate it, Dave.
Thanks.
Hey, Brian, Josh Reed here. Hope you're doing pretty well. Hi. How tricky is it to kind of, not split carries, but I guess kind of juggle Moss and Singletary in the backfield?
No, I think Kelly Skipper does a fantastic job with that. I think he's got a good feel for those guys down there on the field and when they need breaks. And, it's sometimes a guy gets hot and you feed him a little bit more, or other times you're both kind of going at the same time and you're trying to keep them fresh. But I credit Kelly for really having a good feel for his position group and the guys that he works with, and rolling them in and out. Are there certain plays that, we might tag a 20 or a 26? Absolutely. But, really have confidence in those guys that whatever we call that they can go out there and do and try to keep them as fresh as we can, which we needed to yesterday. They were both getting quite a few touches, relatively speaking.
One of the Moss touchdowns, I think it was Feliciano and Winters, just grabbed him. They weren't gonna let him come up short. How much fun is it when you see the two big guys just grab him and basically pull him into the end zone?
It's a lot. I think that that's an important part of their identity is to play tough, and I think both those guys are tough guys. Dion got in there late. I'm certain every offensive lineman would love to run the ball, and every receiver would love to throw it, and every quarterback would love to throw it, and every runner would love to run it. But the important part is a team first attitude, and whatever it is we choose to call or try to accomplish that game, that everybody buys in. And when those guys are having fun and playing physical and and trying to move the line of scrimmage. Obviously it's fun to watch.
Does that get any reaction when you guys watch it as a team and kind of break down film?
Oh yeah, it will. It's really good effort. That's something that we try to pride ourselves on is trying to out effort teams, and that really takes no talent. It just takes heart and a commitment to try to get your job done. And you have some fun with it too. When you watch that and you watch a play like that.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate you.
Thanks. You guys got it. Appreciate you.